All right, so you're gonna hear my son. Sorry, he's already crying. I can hear him. It's probably gonna last the whole time. So just don't let it phase you, like it doesn't phase me. Um, I have a quick question for y'all. We're gonna start off with a question because I love questions. What was the biggest shift for you, for those of you that have gone senior gold? What was the biggest shift for you from going from gold to senior gold? What was it for you? Think about it for just a second, and I want to hear from y'all. What was it for you?
Are we unmuting?
Yeah, if you could unmute, that'd be great
Okay.
because I don't like to read.
Um, I some people go gold with duplication. That's awesome. I hadn't. Mine was not being afraid to send the scary messages. And the first time I ever messaged someone, like I had been thinking about her to do the business with me, she was like, "Oh my goodness, I have been waiting for you to reach out to me." And I'm like if I would have never sent that message, I would have never found my first real runner. So that scary, not really scary messaging was what did it for me.
And if anybody can take notes on these, that would be awesome because I am using all my brain power to say smart things. So that is a great one. What else? I'm not reading the comments, so if y'all could unmute, that would be awesome.
It was leadership for me.
What does
Like,
that mean? Leadership, how?
um, finding some, like, I had a couple of people who wanted to do it, but it was like really diving into teaching them how to do it.
So breaking it down simply for them, because it's possible that Miss I'm number 13, Amy Price, didn't have to be handheld, and you're having to learn that most people have to be handheld.
Yes. And it's extremely frustrating when you hold them and they still don't do the stuff.
I have a book for you. It's called Secret Code to Success, and it talks about the 3%ers and the 97%. You, my friend, are a 3%er. Congratulations. I love you. And it's not the normal, right? What else?
For me, it was pouring into my mindset and belief, like really getting into reading books, listening to podcasts, those types of things. And
Ooh,
and
okay.
not just any like John Maxwell, like real like network marketing mindset, not just reading books. Like I'm not a reader. I can't stand reading. So I listen to a lot of stuff, but shifting my focus and doing that daily to build up that missing link in myself has helped big time.
Fun fact, I did not watch a plexus training video longer than like 10 or 15 minutes until I was pushing for senior gold because I realized that did not know all the things. So I'm right there with you. What else?
For me, it was two things. It was confidence, which almost was like, for me, it was when I did get like a runner, it was almost like a fake confidence, like acting like, oh yeah, I do this all the time, even though she was like my first person that was like really interested in the business. Um, but also it was like that I had had this time, like 6 months of not re-ranking gold, before we started to grow back up, that I had really poured into like my own leadership and like raising my own leadership lid, figuring out the systems and the culture that I wanted for my like team that I was envisioning that was coming, that wasn't there yet. So like having both of those things in place when I was able to like meet the right people was so key for us.
Yes. And if y'all are gold and you have questions about any of those, seriously, just unmute and ask because those are all really great. What else can y'all think of? Anything else that come to mind as you shifted from gold to senior gold?
I would say like leading myself better first and like being more consistent with the things that I was doing for my business and sending the messages and on top of like everything everybody else already said. But realizing like someone somewhere much smarter than me said like, whatever you do, like the people who are following you are going to do like even less than that. And so leading myself in that way first, knowing that if I'm doing, 100%, they're probably only doing like 20%, if that.
Okay, we're going to stop there because that leads perfectly into what we're talking about tonight. Because I love y'all. You got to gold or more. And I need you to be really honest with yourself for just a second. Do you want to go further than where you are right now? Do you want to? And if you don't want to, that's okay. Okay. It's okay to be okay with where you are. But if you want to go bigger, if you want to do more things, if you want to be on stage, if you want to make more money, if you want to have runners, if you want to raise your leadership lid, if you want to be able to live more into your gifts and add value to Plexus, but you can't do that to your Jewel because you can't be on a board of any kind, whether it's marketing or design or philanthropy, like you can't be on any board until you're an Emerald, Sapphire, Diamond. If you want to do those things, you want to make more impact, you have to do. It will not just happen. And that is where like hope is not a strategy came in, because while hope is necessary, it is not a strategy. And I love strategy. So we're going to talk strategy tonight. Someone told me, I heard two things in the last couple of weeks that made me like, really? Someone said, I'm not growing. My points aren't going anywhere. And when asked how much they were working a week, they said 2 hours. And I said, okay, you need to triple that. Like, I'm sorry, you cannot go from 500 points to 1,500 on 1 to 2 hours a week. Like, it's not possible. And so I want y'all to know these things because you're golds and you're leaders and you're smart. Like, you know that. But I want you to be really honest with yourself. What are you doing right now to actually make the things that you want happen? And I wrote some down because these are oftentimes like things that I know that y'all want. And I've been stuck there too, but I know you're not doing the things to get the thing that you want. Some examples might be, I hope some of my level ones are going to want to share. It's not going to happen. Okay. They don't just like pop out of nowhere like popcorn and say, I think I'm ready. And you haven't never posted about the business, or you haven't done it, consistently for 90 days, and you haven't asked them if they want to get their products paid for. If you haven't done the steps, the thing is not going to happen. Okay. I hope someone's going to want the business. I'm just going to work and hope I make the trip in February. Guys, I love you. If you do not have it on paper right now, unless you have a team of a bunch of unicorns, which you don't, no one does. So if you do not have a plan on paper for this trip in February, you're not going to get it. And especially if you want the shopping spree, or not shopping spree, like the top earned prizes, right? Like, it's not going to happen. You have to have a strategy. I want to be Ruby so badly, but blank, fill in the blank, whatever it is. I don't think I have the time. I don't have the whatever. Okay. You can't want Ruby and not move your feet at the same time. It doesn't work like that. And then I hope my team will wake up. I just wrote that one down just because I've heard people say that. I'm waiting for my team to wake up. You guys, there are so many ways to wake up a team. It starts with you and your action and your posting. What are you putting in your team thread? How many 30 minutes one-on-one power half hours have you done with your team? When's the last time you sat down and asked them about their why and helped them develop a vision? Or better yet, you went and developed your vision. You shared it on Facebook over and over and over and over. That's how you wake up a team. You don't wake up a team by just sitting and just hoping it happens. Okay. And so I know that the way I speak sometimes can be a little bit like bold and blunt, but I think y'all know me well enough to know that it comes from a place of I just want what you want. And so if you want to grow, I want to help you grow. If you don't want to grow, you might want to leave this call. Just okay. All right. So let's talk about this really quick. I want to share, we're going to talk specifically about duplication. Who would love to have leaders on their team? Who would love to have people running the business as all in as you are, and they are doing the business with you? Y'all, that is so much fun. And I can tell you, I have 4 level 1 jewels, and I have a level 1 senior ruby and a level 1 ruby. Out of all of those people, I knew one of them before Plexus. One. Okay. I did not sit and wait for my best friend to let it click and her to come to me. I did not wait for Susie Q that I sent samples to decide that she wanted to sign up and just hope it happened. I pursued these people with confidence and excitement and consistency. I had a girl the other day tell me, the girl I've been reaching out to, no joke, since 2017. I mean, I'm not even kidding y'all. If y'all went and looked, y'all would probably laugh. I have seriously messaged her, I don't know, 3 to 10 times a year about Plexus. And she finally, this last time, she said, listen, I just want you to know, when and if I ever do something like what you do, I will come to you. And I applaud your consistency. Keep it up. And I said, yes, sir. And I'm just going to keep messaging her until it's the right time. And so let me just tell you a couple of things I did. We're going to do lots of did things, like strategy things tonight. So let me talk to you about Denise for a second. Denise was one of my very first gold ambassadors. And y'all, I invited her. I went and counted to 4 different events before she signed up. I finally got with her in person and paid for her lunch. This wasn't even for the business, y'all. This was for her to get on products. I paid for her lunch and we talked about it all. And finally, after it was, I think when I looked, it was closer to like 8 or 9 months. She finally signed up. 4 events, an in-person lunch date, and multiple follow-ups. Okay. And she only signed up to shut me up, is what she told me later, which is fine because now she's cool and she's great. Let me talk to you about Taylor for a second. Taylor, I don't know if she's on here. I don't see your face, but usually she's on these calls. Taylor, we met in a mom group. If you do not know how to prospect in groups and you're like, well, I hope I can grow my level 1 base, but I feel like I'm stuck and I feel like I've reached out to everybody, get creative. Okay. That's what I had to do. So this was probably when I was maybe senior gold ruby. I was probably ruby. I reached out to her and we talked for a bit and she told me no to this. And I finally invited her to an event anyway. And she came and she signed up after that event. Y'all, it was months of prospecting. I pursued her. Who are you pursuing right now? That's a genuine question. Like, write it on paper. Who are you actually pursuing right now? Is there somebody that comes to mind that you know you've messaged? And when you post, you have them in mind and you know you are pursuing them actively right now. If not, I want to encourage you guys to get hyper focused on who you want on your team. And what are you doing to get them on your team? You know, Cassandra, for me, she knew what I was struggling with, and I know she was posting with me in mind because she was constantly talking about constipation, and she knew that was my main health struggle. And she kept messaging me over and over and over, very simply, hey, I've got a sample. Do you want it? Hey, I got a bottle of this. Do you want to try it? And she was just kept dropping, kept being persistent. Okay. And so I just wanted to share that because there's lots of things you can do to make what you want to happen. The question is, are you doing them right now? And if not, this is not a shame moment. It's a moment of, okay, I now know what I need to go do to get what I want. Okay. All right. So I want to talk specifically about duplication tonight. So my favorite topic, I love duplication because duplication, I feel like just is so much fun. Brittany Duke, are you having so much fun right now in duplication?
Yes, I know I don't look like it. I'm really tired, but I'm having fun. It's good. It's a good month.
It makes everything way better. It really does. And when you're not duplicating, or at least for me, I don't know about y'all, but when I'm not duplicating, I feel like I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't know why. I feel like I can't even do a training video because I'm like, well, I'm not duplicating. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm not a good leader. Like, and that's so stupid, right? Like, I know Lauren Davis is a great leader. Like, I know Casey Cox is a great leader. Like, but we say these things when we're not finding these results. Okay. So let's talk about duplication. How do you get people interested in the business? How do you do it? What's the strategy? How do you get people interested in the business? And this is an unmute and talk night. And if I can make it happen, I'm going to create a board with all of this on there for us this next week while I'm in Mexico. So how do you get people interested in the business? What do you do? What are you doing?
Gotta talk about it.
Where do you talk about it? Where do you talk about it, Becca?
I didn't know that was, oops, sorry, hold on. I didn't know that was directly related asked to me. In your posts and in your conversations.
How often should you be talking about it?
All the time.
What's all the time?
Text and stuff. It's a great question.
Just
Every
like I
day?
would have never answered this first question if I knew more questions were coming.
Is every day too much? I don't know.
I would say if you went and watched my stories, you would get a hint of the Plexus business every day in some way, shape, or form, whether it's me with my kids because of this Plexus business, or it's something that I was able to do, or it's a fun recognition thing for somebody. I would say there's a drip of the business, if not every day, every other day. I'm not saying you have to do that. I'm just saying that that's what I do. Okay. How else do y'all, how else we get people interested in the business?
I like to target a pain point if there's somebody I'm pursuing and I know like this is their area that they would see improvement in or they want to see improvement in, but they're not sold on buying in. I try to push that button.
Yeah, that's a great one. I did that with Chandler. She knows it. It's fine. She told me her main pain point was that she hated going to the gym at 6 o'clock because there was a bunch of muscled up dudes and it was way too crowded. So I made a point to go to the gym at like noon and I would post it. I didn't want to go to the gym, but Chandler made me do it. Okay. So you now have people interested in the business. You've targeted them. You have done the bold business reach outs to specific people that you wanted to do this business with. You're talking all the time about this business that you love, not in a weird salesy way, but in a very natural, like, hey, I love what I do. Come have fun with me way. Okay, so we've talked about it. What's the next step once someone says, hey, I want to do, I'm interested. I'm interested in what you do. What do you do? What's the next thing?
Ask why, like what they're hoping this will help them with.
Yep. Okay. That's exactly what I do. I always dig in, ask good questions, figure out, where they're at, what they need. And then what do you do? Once you've been in a conversation and it's going really great, what's the next step? What do y'all do? I get on the phone. That's my next step. I could give them a call. Is that what y'all do?
I get on the phone too with my people that say they're interested, even if they say they're iffy about it, I get on the phone with them.
Mhm.
And then I also like to just ask them straight up. Like I think for me it's like I would appreciate that if they just said like, okay, let's do this. Like, are you ready? But just being very direct with them about getting started, and they can either say yes or no. If they say no, then I ask good questions.
Yeah. And I'm going to send y'all a list of questions. Y'all can't see these. I'm going to send y'all a list of questions that I do once I get on the phone. Okay. So you've gotten them interested. You've had a good conversation. You've figured a little bit more about them. You get them on the phone and you have a candid conversation. Today. Oh my gosh. You get them on the phone and you talk to them. You ask really good questions on this phone call. And then what else do you do on this phone call? Let's say they're like, okay, well, I'm ready. I'm ready to go. They haven't signed up yet. What else happens on this call if they're ready for the products and the business? What do you do?
Sign them up.
What else do you do?
I like to ask them, I like to start getting into a little bit of their like vision for what they want in this and like, what will this money do for you? Because I will tell you, my guess of what I think the money will do for them has always been wrong. And so I like to ask, and then it's really interesting, like why people actually want to do it.
Yes.
I also like to help them start thinking of like the people that they know in their life that need this. And I always take notes because then when they say, I can't think of anyone that would want to do this, I'm like, well, I remember you told me your stepmom, blah, 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 blah. I mean, I'm not saying it like that, but I'm like, oh, what about your stepmom who struggles with like massive blah, blah.
I'm going to tell y'all something that I do on this call, and this is something I do all the time. So when I'm on the phone call with them, I'm listening for their story, and I'm actually in my notepad and I'm writing down some of the things that they're saying so that by the end of the call, when they're ready, I'm going to help them make their first post. And I'm going to use the content that they have been telling me. Like I've already written their first post for them by the time we get to the end of the call, because they've told me, well, I've been struggling with this, and this is how I felt, and this is why I started. I've already written them a first post by then, and possibly a couple of others that I can be able to send them after that. So that's one thing that I have started doing over the last couple of years that's really helpful. And so I help them post when we're on the call. And the other thing I do is what Katie said. I help them go ahead and reach out to a couple of people. Who do you know that's struggling? And I help them send a message, because y'all, if we can help them do a scary thing and get a win, like to me, that's everything, right? Like I remember when I started and somebody added me to a Facebook group and I was like, what is this? This is a lot of information and I don't even know how to manage this, right? Like I remember just seeing all these like videos and things and I was like, this is too hard. No, done. And then I stopped the business for a whole year because I didn't know what I was doing. And so if you can make it simple for them, that's the goal, right? Okay, so you've got them interested. You've created interest. Okay, anybody here struggle with getting people wanting the business? If you do you think that you have room to do more of what we talked about on that first step? Share more about the business, more business wins. Like, would you agree that that is something that you can like put in gear 3 or whatever? I don't know, whatever more is. I'm not a stick person. Okay. Anyway, where's Jason when we need him? Okay. So then we are on the phone call with them. We go through that strategy. Y'all, all of this is strategy. And eventually, if this is not like something that comes really natural to you, practice, 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 practice. And this becomes so natural, like brushing your teeth. So we're on the call. We have asked them good questions. We've helped them make a first post, and we have helped them send a couple messages. What's next? Okay. They've made a first post. How are you going to help them get wins in their first messages when people are like, hey, what are you doing? You know, like how do you get ahead of that so that they're not sending really terrible messages at first?
I let them know that I'm going to have them do three-way chats and let them know how to do a three-way chat.
Yes, exactly. And I like to send screenshots. I'll be like, oh my gosh, look, you just got a comment. This is what we're going to say back to this person. So I'm like really just looking at their post like all day. So I can get ahead of it before they start sending things because they're just really excited. And I would rather them send the right thing at first. So I'm helping them get in their three-way messages with me, helping them send the right messages at first. Okay. What happens when you have somebody that's like, oh, I'll post when we get off the call. No worries. Anybody ever had that? You're like, you've helped someone or you sent them post examples and it never happened. How do you help them make the post? How do you encourage that action to happen?
No. Go ahead and open your Facebook. We're gonna hit post right now while we're on the phone together.
Yeah.
And then I hear dead silence, and then I say, "What are you thinking right now?" And they're like, "Oh, I'm so nervous." And I'm like, "Great, we're gonna do scary things, and we're gonna do it often."
Yep. Yes, totally agree. Okay, how do you help your new person who's trying to go silver, who's probably in some sort of thread, who's seeing other people maybe go a little faster than them? How do you help them not live in comparison? How do you help them stay focused on their goals? I will tell you one thing that I do. I love making countdowns for people. So I will be like, hey, oh my gosh, you're one order away. Have you thought about a post this week? Let's make a post together, right? Like, so I'm constantly helping them with the next action so that they're focused on them and their goals and not so much what other people are doing. And the other thing I really love to do is if they see somebody in a thread that's doing awesome, I encourage them to go into that message and tag them and say, hey, what are you doing that's working? I'm working on the same goal. And so it becomes more of a sharing space instead of a competition space. So anyway, those are two things that I do. Anything that y'all that comes to mind that helps you and your people not feel comparison?
I think we can talk about like our own failures because they probably see us as like this perfect, successful entrepreneur who's never failed. So maybe talk about, the first time you got on the phone with somebody, or the first time you made a post and nobody liked it, or the first message you send and nobody responded. Just little things like that to like normalize the failure.
Yes. And there's also some really good stories to tag them into in our business pages too. What else are you gonna say, Britt?
I was just gonna say, when I send screenshots to like group chats, I let it show that like I've sent a message before and they didn't respond. And like, or I like bring it up. I'm like, well, they never responded to this, but they popped into my head today, so I'm sending this again just to like normalize the no response or the ghosting or things like that.
Yeah, for sure.
I have one more thing too. Taylor and I have been working on this a lot since convention. But just saying like Brittany said, like normalizing the no's. But for what we're doing, what we're trying to do is like do it like the first phone call. Like I think it's different for me, at least what I've experienced is like it's different saying it's okay to get a no after they've already got a no than saying like it's okay to get a no when they first start. So it's not like a sting. It's just like, okay, like it's normal, like it happens. Like she had that happen to her too. Just because I feel like it's makes them feel like a lot more comfortable and maybe a lot more like at ease if they like have that thought before they actually have the action happen. So, and we've been seeing like a lot of success with that too. Like people aren't getting as discouraged as they would otherwise.
Our thoughts are so powerful. It is annoying how powerful they are. I want to ask y'all really quick, if you were to rate yourself right now on your level of strategy, the things that you're doing intentionally, the things that you are doing that are action to get you where you want to go, that is the strategy, right? The things that you are implementing so that you can get to this thing that you want. Like, how are you doing? Are you executing strategy? Do you feel like you're just like a fish flopping out of water and or do you feel like you're snoozing a little? Like, where are you? I can be honest and just say, like, I feel like I am really good at strategy, but I have been incredibly lazy with strategy the last 3 or 4 months. Just because I had a baby and he just cries a lot and I just need a nap. Okay. And so that's where my head has been. But I can tell y'all during that time where I needed a nap, I also created a brand new Fast Start Gold and a brand new Fast Start Senior Silver on my re-entry leg. And so you can do whatever you set your mind to, even in the hardest of seasons. And so this is what I want to leave y'all with, because I really wanted this to be a 30-minute call. I don't know what shift you need to make. But I do know the shifts that I made at each rank, and I'm going to tell them to you, and I'm going to see if they resonate. And I really, really want to encourage you guys to pull that Leaders Retreat contest breakdown of points and get it on paper. If you are avoiding it, why? Why are you avoiding it? It is not hard. If you're telling yourself it's hard, it's not. Why are you avoiding it? Are you afraid you're not going to get the trip? Are you telling yourself you don't actually want the trip? Yes, you do. Everybody wants a free trip to Mexico. I don't care who you are. I don't care how much money you have. You want a free trip to Mexico. Okay. All right. So let's break these down really, really quick and then we'll hop off of here. But these were mine. Senior silver to gold. There was a lot of comparison that could set in. And the shift that I had to make was to embrace that the key to going gold and developing silvers was pouring into learning the silver system and developing my influence. The only thing holding me back was me. And that is true. If you look at any of your teammates, if they're trying to go gold, the only thing holding them back is them. I believe anyone and their dog can go gold. My grandma could go gold if she wanted to. She doesn't want to, but if she did, we could make it happen. So now, who here is gold? If you are a gold ambassador, I want to see your hands. All right. This one is for you. It says you are gold, and now it's time for senior gold. You have done so much of the heavy lifting on your own. Does everyone here that is gold agree that you've probably done so much of the heavy lifting on your own, usually mainly the recruiting pillar, possibly the customer care pillar? Okay. And at this point, you're wondering if you have the ability to lead or the time to make this a career. If you are feeling any of those, I don't know if I can make this a career and I don't know if I can put in the time. I'm telling you guys, those are lies that you were telling yourself because you have not mastered the duplication piece. And right now it feels impossible. but it is not impossible. As soon as you lean into that leadership and duplication piece, things will start rolling and it gets way fun. Right, Amy Price. Doesn't it get fun once you start duplicating? Isn't it great? All right. So the shift that you are going to have to make is you are the CEO of a small business and your team is growing. You need to get organized. You need to do your IPA. You need to duplicate simple systems, and you need to go ALA every month, and you need to duplicate 20% of your ads. 20% of your ads need to be silver. 20%. That means if you recruit 10 people, you need to have 2 silvers. I have used that ratio for years. It is magic. When we as a team duplicate that, we are growing in points. So I'm telling you right now, it does work. So if you've never used that number before in your business, I want to encourage you to do that. All right, one more. You are senior gold. Who here is a senior gold ambassador? Let me see. Yeah. Okay, if you are senior gold, you may have a few silvers, maybe even a gold ambassador, and you're seeing more attrition. Anybody here have like people coming in and it feels like you have a bathtub that you can't ever fill up because you're bringing people in and people are leaving at the same time and it just is exhausting of a cycle? I remember that cycle and it sucked. And I almost feel like it was worse at senior gold than it was at diamond. So I said, okay. So I said, you're tempted to say that you've talked to everyone you know and you're just not sure what to do next. That is an excuse. You are filling in because it feels hard right now. It is still an excuse. It is not the truth. I said, the shift team you have now is not the team that's going to get you where you want to go. You must rebuild. Love it, learn it, keep doing it. Leading by example and growing your level 1s instead of being in management mode is important. Be the rock star your team needs in all the pillars, not just recruiting. Okay, management mode. That looks like spending way more time creating graphics than recruiting, or on 30-minute Zooms with your team, or whatever else. Okay, I lied. I'm going to do one more because I know that we have lots of rubies and senior rubies on here. It says you're a gym and you have a team under you and you are running a full-on business, but you are but are you treating it like a business? What will life as an emerald or diamond be like? And do I want that? I think I'm scared of it. That's what I wrote down. This was after I went, I wrote these at every rank. Okay. And the shift that I made. If you've made it this far, then you have what it takes. So stop second guessing your God-given abilities and do it. Are you afraid of making this much money? Or even better question, are you afraid to talk about money? Honing in on your leadership skills is crucial here. Not only that, but coaching your team to raise their lids so they can start having those big dreams and goals is my job. All while adding new level 1s and starting the team that will get you to Emerald. The new teams, you guys, the same team you have right now is not the team that's going to get you where you want to go. Every single one of you. Finding harmony in your schedule and a flow that works for your family, and know that if you're doing your job now, that your life is going to get so much easier as you continue to raise up leaders. And then I put game on. So I hope that those resonate with y'all because I've been where you are. And I can tell you that the days where I just hoped something was going to happen, it didn't. the months that I consistently had strategy on who I wanted to do with this with, and I was persistent and I was confident and I was putting in the time and the work, y'all, it pays off. It has never not paid off. So I want to encourage y'all. There's a little quote that I love, and it's like, if you're praying for God to move mountains, then be prepared to wake up next to a shovel. Are you praying for God to move mountains and he's handing you a shovel and you're not using it? I've done that. I've been there. Y'all, just way more fun when you pick up the dang shovel. Okay. All right. I hope y'all have a really great week. We have a bunch of emeralds and sapphires and diamonds heading out to these, seriously, the cool, like the Real Housewives went to this sinking like resort, y'all. It is bougie. And so if you're tricking yourself into saying, well, I don't really think I want that trip anyway, it would never happen for me. Like, y'all, that's so dumb. I know people that are less qualified than you that have already earned this trip. So do not trick yourself into saying you don't want this trip. You do. I promise you, you do. Don't avoid looking at Instagram because you're afraid that vision's going to be cast and then your heart's going to be broken because you're never going to get there. That's not how this works. You let the vision be cast and go put in the strategy to get there. Okay. On the 11th through the 15th, me, Joanna, and Emily's team, all of us will have we're calling it Emerald Extravaganza challenge. And we're going to give you some scary actions and strategy so that you can be here. Maybe it's next year, maybe it's the following year, but if it took you 5 years, is it going to be worth it? I would hope the answer is yes. All right. I'm going to go pack because I haven't packed a thing. Someone come to my house and hold this kid so I can pack. Love y'all.